Hello, hello. We are live here. I'm Arthur, and I'm really happy to announce that today live session is with Kuba. Hello, Kuba.
Hello, everybody.
Kuba is an experienced front-end developer in Web 2 and in Web 3 worlds. Today we will focus mainly on Web 3. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them on chat. Today we prepared some frequently asked questions and some stuff that I think it's worth to discuss in terms of front-end development. We will cover for today Web 2 versus Web 3 differences. We will talk about top libraries and tools. We will suggest you some ideas for pet projects and provide you some best practices. However, feel free to ask any questions anytime. We will try to cover it today. But before we jump into our agenda, Kuba, just say a few words what you were been working lately, because I know that you are at the moment working on some nice DeFi solutions.
Okay. First, let us know the sound and vision is okay.
Sure. Yeah. Let us know, guys. Just that we are not talking just to each other. I see that there are some people on the chat. So yeah, go on, Kuba. I
Okay.
will check the chat in the meantime.
Okay. For anybody who doesn't know me, I'm Kuba, and I'm front-end developer. For last 2 years in Web3, so I'm creating UI layer for smart contracts and everything related with Web3 and DeFi.
Mm-hmm. So a lot of converting between stable coins, ERC20s, and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, mostly numbers, less NFT,
Okay.
probably nothing about related to that. Yeah.
Okay. So more financial stuff. And have you heard about this PayPal stable coins smart contract that was, I think, released yesterday?
Yeah, I saw that on your social media, probably Twitter. I know that from you.
Yeah, okay, because yeah, for people that don't know what we are talking about, PayPal released the smart contract for their stable coin. They released a stable coin for US dollars, and the funny thing is that they are using, I think, really old version of Solidity from 2018. Whole smart contract is centralized. I think that was nothing surprising, but that they used such old version of Solidity, that's kind of lame. But yeah, we will not cover today PayPal and their stable coins and any other stable coins and any coins that you should invest in. This is not our agenda for today. So yeah, maybe let's start with some comparison between Web 2 and Web 3. And I mean here, not exactly, the differences between these two ecosystems, but maybe what's the difference if you are working as a front-end developer in Web 2 and Web 3 space.
Okay, so basically Web 2 and Web 3 both are just buzzwords. Web 2 refers to internet and internet application. You already know, like Facebook, like Instagram, any social media actually. And Web3 refers to blockchain and smart contracts. So that's the difference. And Web2, we got REST APIs, maybe GraphQL, and your address. In Web3, there is APIs and smart contracts and smart contract address. So we can find differences and we can find similar parts.
Okay, so Web3 is more into this movement where we can read, write, and also own some content, and also at least for me, the main difference between Web2 and Web3 is that within the Web2 world, we are communicating with regular HTTP endpoints, right? So every front-end developer have to use some Axios or fetch in order to send some command or fetch some results from the API. And with the Web3, usually we are not communicating with regular HTTP endpoints. We are rather communicating with smart contracts, and these smart contracts have the address. So this is the main difference. And also, as a front-end developer, you always have to take care of connection with the wallet, right? Because in the regular Web2, usually we are using some kind of tokens or cookie sessions. So the backend is aware who is the caller. But in the Web3 world, it's more like we need to have a signature that is signed by the private key of the wallet owner. And this is also something that every front-end developer needs to take care of, at least if you want to write to the smart contract. Because if you want to read, then it's a bit easier. But with writing to the smart contracts, changing some data, modifying the state of the smart contract, then we always have to have this wallet connection. And so do you remember maybe what was the hardest part of actually working with Web3 when you transitioned to from regular Web to front-end world into Web3? Do you remember maybe what was the hardest for you?
The hardest part, maybe, I at that time, 2 years ago, I was experienced enough to take anything, and that was actually maybe that was accident. I met Web3, and I get a job in decentralized finance. The hardest part was learning everything from, maybe not from scratch, learning something new, and just digging documentation at that time. That was a challenge. There were no libraries and frameworks such advanced like we have today.
Yeah, I think that's. I also remember my first days in Web3, and I was actually shocked that everything is so new and not mature, right? Because I know that front end, of course, is also changing every day, and there's a new library, new framework every day. But with Web3, it's even more crazy that sometimes you are trying to use some new feature or new library that is not stable at all, and you have some problems, and you cannot find any solution on the Stack Overflow, because sometimes you are even one of the first people that actually have some problem. So I think it improved lately, but still Web3 is not that stable as regular Web2 development.
Yeah, so far documentations for the tools I use are pretty well maintained. Yeah, but I remember the first courses I watched, and the teacher just showed examples of smart contracts parts and front-end parts, and the front-end part was just HTML and coding JavaScript just in the browser, and the plain HTML and JavaScript files. There was no TypeScript. There was no tooling for modern tooling from front end. sometimes even no React.
Yeah, it was. I remember these first videos on YouTube where everything was written in single script, JavaScript file, or even using some jQuery. So I think we all been there. Okay, so if we are talking about the libraries and tools, so can you maybe say a few words? What kind of libraries are you using these days to communicating with smart contracts, and what are the best solutions, the best tools that we can pick at the moment?
Okay, I'm gonna tell you a story. I just started with a library called Web3, but I just spotted that there is something more convenient for me and more there is Ethers library, and it support at that time it supported TypeScript well enough for me, better than Web3 library. So I moved. The first change was I moved from Web3 library. Web3 it's the name of the frontend JavaScript library actually. I moved from Web3 to Ethers.
Yeah, because the Web3, I think it was the first library ever, right? So it was the first library that was on the market. And I think for some period of time, you didn't have actually real choice. It was just go with this Web3. And then after some months, the Ethers came up, and it was just, I think, better and better documentation, better examples, right?
Yeah, and coding is more intuitive. Coding is just if you have TypeScript involved in your project, you write something, you typing dot, and TypeScript can advise you what's the possible choices. In Web3 library, that was sometimes even annoying. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah, and so right now, are you using Ethers, or are you using even some new stuff like VM or WAGMI or some other tools? What is your current stack at the moment?
Now it's Ethers version 6 and version 5 and VM. So depends on the repository, depends on the branch I'm working on. It's everything is changing, and that happened in last 6 months. So if you contribute to something, if you maintaining something, you still need to care about your tooling and to be up to date.
And is it so? Because actually, to be honest, I haven't tried yet the Ethers, the most recent version, the 6.7. Is it hard actually to migrate from the version 5 to this most recent version?
Depends on how you did care about your code. If you used to write clean code, the migration is pretty easy. Actually, I don't remember the details. When I moved from V5 to V6, because I smoothly moved. If it's possible, I smoothly moved to VM. So in both cases, moving from Ethers V5 to V6 and V5 to VM, it's smooth. It's smooth move. The main difference between V5 and V6 is the big number library and native JavaScript big int type. There is the main difference. So you need to move all your calculations from big number library to big int.
Yeah, so maybe just for some context, because maybe not everybody from the audience is already familiar what is the ethers, what is VM and Web3. Just few words about it. That as we said at the beginning of this stream, there are some differences between Web2 and Web3, and in Web3 usually we are communicating with smart contracts. And ethers is basically a library that allows us to easily communicate with the smart contracts. So for example, if we have a DAI address, DAI contract, which is a stable coin, then we are able to have regular JavaScript functions that are mapped with the functions on the smart contract. So nobody wants to talk to the blockchain straight from the JavaScript code. Everybody wants to have some library, some abstraction over it. So for example, if we have the balance of some address, then we are getting in return the promise, then this promise can be resolved, and then we can have some types that are relevant for the blockchain world. For example, the big number, because in blockchain, whenever we are fetching the numbers, usually they are super big because of decimals that are used for the units that Ethereum blockchain uses. So that's the reason why we need to have this library. That's the reason why we need stuff like ethers. And then we have a new libraries called VM. And the main difference from VM to ethers is that is way more lightweight, because the main problem with ethers, I think, is that if you start including into your single page apps like React, then all of a sudden your bundle is super big just because of using ethers. And are there any, I don't know, stuff that you like more about VM, that, I don't know, you like the hooks, or you like the functions that Vim offers, or it's more like that it's, more lightweight, more modular, and that's it?
Actually, if you go to Vim documentation and you open, maybe not Vim, it's WAGMI. WAGMI is it's a set of React hooks using, and it uses Vim under the hood. And if you go to WAGMI documentation, and maybe not WAGMI, no, it's sorry, it's that's right, it's VM. VM has a position in many ethers v5, and there's an arrow, so it tells about moving to VM, and it turns out that VM is the exact reflection of ethers. Sometimes functions have different names. Maybe the arguments are transported in other way. Maybe it's not an array. Maybe it's an object. TypeScript is there is better support for TypeScript. I didn't dive into VM source code, so I have no idea why it's so small. I'm just a VM user. But maybe there is some article on the web about that. I need to read that.
Yeah, I think that VM library is just more modular, right? Because sometimes I think it depends on what exactly you are building with your front-end application. Because I think sometimes your application needs all the stuff that Ethers offers you, right? But sometimes you just want to read one function from the smart contract, and then you don't need, I don't know, a lot of stuff that is relevant for, I don't know, accounts, contracts, I don't know, stuff related to ENS, some utilities for converting units. I think just VM contains more modular architecture in the library, and that's, even we can see that with this simple example, that even if you want to have some information about the mainnet, which is, I don't know, the chain ID or maybe some other stuff, then it's separated like VM/chains, right? So probably that's the reason. But as we can see, the syntax is almost the same. And have you encountered any problems in working with these libraries? Because I know that some people are complaining about WAGMI, or some people were complaining for the differences between Web3.js and Ethers. So is there any problems that you had with these libraries, or everything is smooth so far?
Yes, I spotted some problems moving. I was stopped for a while, but I figured out everything, and there is a happy end of every trouble I got. I think VM code. Just one sentence about VM. VM code looks much more cleaner for me. It's more intuitive, more handy in usage. Yeah, if I supposed to say something about problems I got, I don't thinking about problems actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was one problem when you moving from one solution to another. You need to move that smoothly, and the first step is to mix both solutions. One part of your code depends on the oldest solution, older solution, and in other part of your application you use the modern stack. And if you when I mixed VM and Ethers, and actually when I mixed big number and big int, I got some issues in testing. Issues related to precision. But
Okay.
when I move entirely to VM, it's gone.
Okay, yeah. So because I think that's always the problem of the beginners, right? That if you are starting with some technology right now, it's hard to make a choice which library should I use, right? So probably if you would have to give some advice to somebody who wants to just try some stuff in the JavaScript and read something from the smart contract, maybe write to it, then you would recommend to start with VM and WAGMI for React developers, or you would suggest some different options?
It doesn't depend on the framework. In terms of React, we have another tooling. Those actually three libraries refers to plain JavaScript. It's about vanilla JavaScript. If you want to be always up to date, you can pick the newest tooling, which is VM. If you want to be pretty sure about and if you have obsession about security, maybe Ethers is better choice. Maybe even version 5, because it's more mature. It's tested, it's battle tested, and you probably, it's more likely you find topics, solution for your issues in the internet, in the web.
Okay, so the solution, so if somebody wants just to try the Web3 contacting with smart contracts with vanilla JS, then the best option to start would be Ethers, right?
We talk about experience because it's not related to experience. You can use whatever you like. Ethers and VM are in competition actually, but so next part probably we got on the agenda. We're gonna talk about React libraries, specific libraries for React, and there is a difference because if you want to use WAGMI, you must use VM in the latest version. But if you create a project in vanilla JavaScript, the choice is still open. You can use whatever you want, Ethers or VM. I recommend to use the newest tooling. But if you consider VM as the newest tooling, as I said, Ethers is in the competition, and they released version 6, which is worth attention as well.
Yeah, I would personally recommend to start with Ethers, just because I know that there are more stuff, more materials about Ethers in the internet. Even if you ask ChatGPT about VM, then there's not that much stuff about VM because it's so new. And with Ethers, at least if you would like to have some quick code snippets from ChatGPT, or if you would like to, I don't know, check Stack Overflow, you have way more stuff in Ethers, right? And I think the Ethers also, if I would be the maintainer of the Ethers, I would go into direction of the VM, right? So probably Ethers will become more and more modular, faster over time because they just have a lot of users at the moment.
They do that.
Yeah.
I see that.
Yeah. So that's I think the very obvious road to improve, because I think the V5 already had almost everything that is needed for working with Web3 in the front end, at least. But still, VM is some interesting alternative. But yeah, let's maybe jump to more details of using or maybe talking to smart contracts in the React world, because I know that most of the people that are watching my channel, they are familiar with the React. I was recording some videos about React in the past. And just by looking, I think, in the statistics of how many what technologies are used by Web3 projects, usually it's React, it's Next.js. So I think a lot of people are familiar with React. And if you would be the beginner again, that wants to start with Web3 and knows a bit of React, we have a lot of choices to make. We can use the WAGMI, we can use useDapp, we can use some other libraries. So which one you would recommend as a starter? Oh, you are muted.
Sorry, I got issues in the room. Could you repeat that question, because I had some guests here.
Somebody disturbed you. Okay, no problem.
Yes.
Yeah. So the problem with starting is always which library to choose, right? Especially if the React developers, they have a lot of choices. We have useDapp, we have WAGMI, we have I don't know, at least there was some scaffold if I think, something that was promoted on YouTube. So yeah, there are a lot of libraries, probably some other that I even not aware of, and how to make the best choice to at start, just to not pick a wrong tool and then have some issues.
If you want to not scare yourself and you have not enough experience in front-end developing, I highly recommend you to use useDapp library because it's more convenient. There is no issues while testing. It takes it guides you. It takes your hand and guides you over the whole Web3 world. You're just writing the code. You don't need to care about performance, about subscription to node provider. We didn't talk about node providers, but there is something like that. And in terms of WAGMI, the developer is more flexible, but flexibility comes with some issues. You need to figure out everything on your own, like subscriptions, like multi-call connections. We didn't talk about multi-calls neither. Yeah, if you, I recommend to start with useDapp, then move to WAGMI.
Okay, so basically, useDapp is something just for simple stuff, or yeah, it's perfect for fresh start, just to not lose too much time on configuration and some a bit more advanced stuff, because I think I don't expect the people try to multi-calls at the beginning of their journey with Web3. I think we'll cover some pet projects in upcoming minutes, but I think for the beginning, it's very important just to read some information from the smart contract, then maybe send some transaction, connect to the wallet, and this stuff works way easier in useDapp, right?
There are some caveats. Yeah, you need to assume you use only the MetaMask for now. I know I don't know what happens with what is happening on the maintaining part in useDapp team. What I see, WAGMI contributors, WAGMI maintainers follows the latest tooling like Wallet Connect. So for now, useDapp doesn't support Wallet Connect, which is pretty common solution Web3.
But they are claiming that they are.
Yeah, but only in version 1, and as we know, version 1 of Wallet Connect is dropped now.
Okay. So yeah, that's true. So they are not supporting the Wallet Connect V2, right?
Maybe something changed in the last days. I didn't check that. So if it's possible now, let us know on the chat.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know either. I see that they added some connector.
Oh,
So yeah, it's released. Yeah, but I haven't checked it on my own. So maybe they progressed with that. But yeah, that if they are supporting Wallet Connect, that would be awesome, right? Because just depending on MetaMask is enough for testing, enough for playing with smart contracts and trying stuff. But if you want to go to production, I think supporting Wallet Connect, which is basically project that simplifies talking to wallets, right? Because we have a lot of wallets in the world. We have MetaMask, we have some Coinbase wallets, Phantom, and many Rainbow, and probably some new wallet will pop up every week, like in JavaScript world. And Wallet Connect is great because they are simplifying talking to these wallets, and makes it very easy to integrate with mobile wallets, which is especially interesting, that you can just scan the QR code on the web application and then start interacting with that web application using your mobile wallet, which is really cool. And having that implemented on your own would be a nightmare, because you would have to test your solution with every possible wallet, which it's very hard to imagine actually that somebody could want to do it without Wallet Connect. So super good news for useDapp that they are supporting Wallet Connect.
My advice is always check changelog of a certain library before you release some opinions.
Yeah, sure. At least you have to check the last commit, right? If it's 1 year ago, then it's a good indicator to probably not choose the library. But yeah, then we have the WAGMI, right? And WAGMI is especially interesting to React developers because it has support of hooks, right? So obviously everybody works with hooks in React, and then we have a lot of hooks with WAGMI, right?
useDapp uses hooks as well. Basically, it's as both libraries are a set of hooks for React, but not only. In terms of WAGMI, we get instance of React context with the deal with everything for us. Yeah, that's the reason it's for React. Because it's concrete React implementation uses VM under the hood. Because if you use some hook in WAGMI, you can find pretty much the same on the VM level. But in VM, it returns likely promise, and in VM it's hook, so it's
opposite way, right?
It's opposite way. It's
the hook in WAGMI and the promise in VM,
yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. So here for React developers, all you have to do with WAGMI is wrap your entire application into WAGMI config. And then once you wrap your application with it, then in underlying components, you are able to use hooks. And this is very convenient that, for example, you can grab the address of currently logged in wallet in the browser, then you have the flag is connected, and depending on that, you can build your whole UI. And that's really convenient because, of course, you can try to, integrate with MetaMask and perform some calls here and there directly without using such libraries. But if you want to build a real application, I think you should go with stuff like WAGMI because you have a lot of stuff that actually saves your time. So, for example, connection to the wallet is one thing, but then you have the concept of ENS in Web3, which is something like DNS in regular Web2 world. And then sometimes you need to translate address to the ENS name, which basically means that you have to reach out to some external smart contract and check what domain is assigned to some address. And doing that manually takes a lot of time. And with WAGMI, it's just a one-liner, right? You can just use ENS name, and that's it. And the same goes with writing or reading from the contract, yeah, because sometimes you have the error, sometimes you have slow connection to the blockchain, and you need to show some loading spinner, and then these hooks are just prepared for all these scenarios. So you have the data, you have the loading flag. So it's really, really convenient to build your applications in React using WAGMI.
Yeah, and you can pre-validate your contract call using some hook called use prepare contract read or something like that. And you can get information, is your payload valid or not? What WAGMI does is it gets your call, and it can provide the information, is that call gonna pass or not? So you can avoid some UX pitfalls like spending gas with on a reverted transaction.
Yeah, that's also something worth to have, because there you can have the UI, you can have some form, and you can already know that some operation will not work because somebody didn't have some approvals, or somebody doesn't have enough of cryptocurrency on the wallet. Sometimes you can have a different network set in your wallet, and then you can immediately detect such situation and inform user on the UI that something is wrong. Please change your network, or please top up your wallet. And if you don't do stuff like that, then it's just very shitty user experience, that somebody wants to do something with the application, and then you see the error, right? But
you can get the feedback without executing the transaction.
Yeah, exactly. So
without wallet, no wallet required. Just something like pre-flight call. Like we know from REST API.
Yeah. So yeah, WAGMI has a lot of hooks that are really useful, because usually, as we said at the beginning of this session, that usually web applications in Web3 are kind of similar, right? We need to have a connection to the wallet. We need to have the connection to the smart contract. And once we are talking to the smart contract, it always happens in the asynchronous way. So it's not like you are sending some request and immediately you have the answer. You have to wait for the transaction to be actually confirmed. So there are a lot of stuff that are common for every Web3 application. And libraries like useDapp or WAGMI just offers you hooks that are prepared for this stuff. So yeah, I think slowly we should go to the next topics, but I think we have one question on the chat that is actually related to what we just covered. Any takes on Web3 React? Because I actually, to be honest, I never heard of this library, and I don't have any opinion on it.
I see that when I'm exploring other Web3 projects. However, I didn't check that. I cannot say anything about that.
Last published 4 years ago. I would not recommend it, to be honest. Or maybe I'm checking the wrong one.
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah. I see that it's still common and some projects.
Oh, sorry. I probably checked the wrong NPM, because I was super scared that this library is published 4 years ago. But looks like there is probably maybe new repo, because that's something from Uniswap. Yeah, and Uniswap is super yeah, super great protocol, decentralized, and they are doing a lot of innovation stuff in Web3. So yeah, to be honest, I don't have any opinion, but yeah, just Uniswap name maybe means something. Yeah. But this example is not, I would say, very rich. Okay, something to check. So yeah, and any other libraries that you think it's worth to mention in terms of React or maybe some other Angular, I don't know, Vue? Do you have any suggestions
No, I
there?
don't. I don't. That's everything what I checked. I explored that uh, all of these libraries pretty well. I have opinion about each of them. However, that's everything.
Yeah, yeah, and I think the Web3 space at the moment is dominated by React. The if we would go to the NPM trends, I think yeah, most of the libraries that are in the Web3 world are just written in React, because that's I think the most popular library at the moment for building UIs. So yeah, I also don't have any recommendations for Angular or Vue or some others. So yeah.
Yeah, or I already mentioned that I've been exploring some other protocols front end code, and I just want to highlight that you can find on GitHub a lot of open source projects with a lot of Web3 project with open sourced front end. And for example, Compound. If you look at the Compound front end, there is nothing out of ordinary. However, if you go to there's GitHub and you look at the code, it's
Oh,
maybe something changed. I checked that something like a few months ago, but at that time it was and
no,
they
that's a
did
bit
it.
that's a bit surprising. It's been a long time since I heard about Elm, but maybe it's still the thing. Yeah, but okay, just because we still need to cover some other stuff for today. So maybe let's leave React libraries for now, and let's move to other topic from our agenda. So I think it's very frequently asked questions, especially from the people that want to get into Web3 world and they are front-end developers. So what are the projects, in your opinion, that are good for the beginners, right? So some kind of pet projects that somebody can try to code something in the meantime, while getting in some serious projects. What are the ideas for the pet projects for Web3 front-end developers?
One disclaimer: you need to be experienced in front-end. Maybe not a lot, but somehow. Because if you don't know HTML, JavaScript, and CSS, you probably get lost in all this stuff. So you need to be fluent enough in JavaScript to write code for Web3. And if you are experienced enough, if you know enough stuff, then are two paths I recommend. First one is just grab the existing smart contracts and just try to connect to it. And the second path is to learn some Solidity basics and write smart contracts on your own. And the first solution you can find whatever project you like. I am in DeFi world, so I would pick some DeFi project, DeFi protocol, and you don't need to make a course writing something on the blockchain. You you can just grab some data from the smart contracts. There are view functions which provide you some information what is happening in certain smart contract. So you don't need to spend money. You can look for some test nets implementations. Maybe your project, your protocol offers something on girly testnet. You can try it for free, even if they use tokens. Look for faucets, and if I have to type some projects, maybe it's some voting system, multisig, maybe some e-commerce where the ETH is a currency, so you can buy something via your wallet, your cryptocurrency wallet. Yeah.
Yeah. So just for example, if somebody is newcomer and never tried Etherscan, here you can see on the screen that we have etherscan.io, which is a blockchain explorer. So basically this page is listening to every possible change that is happening on the blockchain. And if you go here on the tokens, then you can click top tokens. And here you can see, for example, some most popular smart contracts. And for example, the first one is a stable coin that represents the USD dollar. And if you go here, you can grab the smart contract address, and you can immediately try to listen to the events that are emitted from the smart contract. This is one thing that you can do. For example, you can just have the application that is showing most recent transactions that are happening with the stablecoin. And then, as Kuba said, you can just try to read some information from the smart contract. So you can check the total supply. And if you see some big number like that, you can ask your question to yourself, okay, what does it mean that the total supply is like that? Is it in millions? Is it in dollars? Or what does it mean, right? So I think it's great advice to actually try to read some information from the smart contract. If you are more into NFTs, then of course you can, instead of checking the stablecoin smart contract, you can just go here to the top NFTs and then try to read some information about Bored Apes or some other projects, and just show something in your front-end application. The other stuff that Kuba mentioned about the checkouts and trying to sending some funds, this is a bit more complex, because you need to have some fake coins, right? Nobody wants to try learning development with real money, and then you have to go to the testnet. And this is also another, I think, frequently asked question about the testnets, because often people are asking me, hey, Artur, I don't want to spend real cryptocurrency. What should I do? And then the answer is very simple. You can just go to testnet. So for example, you can write Sepolia Ethereum, and Sepolia is basically the testnet. So it's almost it's the blockchain that works exactly like the main main network on the Ethereum, but it's just using fake coins. So if you get MetaMask or any other wallet, you can just request getting fake coins that are working on the Sepolia, and then you can do exactly the same stuff as you would like to do on the mainnet. So I think,
and they have Block Explorer as well.
Yeah, exactly. You can just write something like Sepolia blockchain block explorer, and then it's even subdomain. So exactly, you can just grab some horse token or some other stuff here and just try it out. And I think it's about the ideas for the pet projects, like you said, any kind of e-commerce use cases, right? That you have some digital content in your application that you can reveal only if somebody contains some NFT, or only if somebody pays some ERC20. So I think it's also a great way to try it, because it's really important to actually learn how to read and how to write information about the smart contract. Right, it's a bit more complex, but once you get it, then I think it should be smooth with any other stuff.
And and if you want to be your checkout bulletproof, you can offer something for buying NFT, but in the end, the owner of the NFT needs to sign a message to prove that it's an owner. So
that's more complex. But still, I think it's just good to try to first with read, then with writing, then maybe checking signatures. This is also something quite interesting. You can check also on my YouTube channel. I have one video about validating signatures, because this is, I think, a great feature of cryptocurrency wallets, that they are basically a device or software that just stores your private key in secure manner. And then you can use this private key to sign some stuff and even do not communicate with the smart contracts. You can, for example, prepare the authentication scenarios in which you are authenticating yourself with your private key. There's also some interesting concepts of actually doing some apps that are chats, that, for example, you can just publicly emit a message with the signature coming from your wallet, and then everybody can see that, okay, this message was really created by the given wallet. So there are a lot of interesting stuff that you can explore. And now I would like to ask you, Kuba, about tools, about what stuff you are actually using in your everyday work, and if you have any best practices with using these libraries. And just one quick thing to our audience, because we will be closing, I think, in about 15 minutes or so. So please ask some questions. If you have any questions related to front end, I don't know, Web3, working in Web3 world, just ask your questions now, and I will go through them after Kuba answers the question about libraries and best practices. I see that we have already some questions from the beginning of our live stream, but it would be great if we can answer more stuff.
Framework. I see a question about tiered web framework, and
we can cover it afterwards. Okay. But now please tell us what are fun libraries or tools, and some best practices from you.
The Web3 front-end stack is pretty much the same. Of course, any block explorer is always your friend for testing transactions. the good practice is just to, first good practice is to test your code, and the methods for testing your DApp, decentralized application, is pretty much the same. The one caveat is the hardest thing is to mock wallet.
Yeah, how to make it in Cyprus, right? That's
Yeah,
tricky.
I tried, but maintaining end-to-end tests, relying on the current MetaMask version, is constant race, never-ending race, and it's only MetaMask. What about other wallets? So yeah, that's the hardest question. Testing do we need to test application, including involving real wallet, or not? And if not, just test your UI using testing library if you are using React. Unit test, of course, for your math operations is crucial. If you perform some math operations in your front end, you should test it. In terms of end-to-end testing, it's mostly manual testing. If you don't work in some big company which has its own QA team, I mean, we talk about developing your own project on your own, one army. And what about integration tests? Should we use the main question is, should we use fake local blockchain like Ganache or Hard Hat or not? If you kind of full stack developer for Web3, I mean, you write the front end part and you write the smart contract part, yes, you should test both separately or connecting each other with integration tests. Yeah, it depends. It always depends on anything. And what I bring to my stack is Storybook. It also helps me to test my UI. And what I do with Storybook is I get rid of everything related to outside world. I mean smart contracts, because smart contracts are not the part of the front end. I mock every input I get into application, and I'm testing it against the output in Storybook. Storybook provides a lot of tooling, helping you with visual regression, even unit testing for your UI. Yeah, and
Yeah, my thoughts on testnet, because yeah, we also tried configuring Cypress with wallet, and it was mess, and we actually resigned from that. And I don't know if maybe there are some other solutions for now. But last time we were trying it, it was a completely mess. So right now we are just having QA engineer that is doing from time to time manual tests of stuff. But yeah, in terms of using Ganache or some local blockchain, because Ganache, if somebody is not familiar, is something that you can deploy smart contracts even not to the testnet like to Sepolia, or it just means that you have your local blockchain and you can deploy stuff there. And I think it's super interesting for smart contract developers. If you are writing a Solidity, then I think having some local simulation of the blockchain is great, because you just can code in the train without access to the internet, and your tests are still running. But if we are working as a dev team, we decided to have our staging using testnets like Sepolia or Girly or stuff like that, because it was just easier for us to preserve state, right? Because sometimes you have some NFT collections or some tokens, and if you would have them on Ganache, then every time you close your computer, you have to rebuild the state, and it's cumbersome, right? So for our stagings, we just using the testnets, and it's working great, at least for our team so far. So that would be just my recommendation, to try the testnets and not add too much complexity for running your project. Because if you ask front-end developer to set up Ganache and also some other stuff, it's always another building block that you have to remember.
I can do that, but it's time consuming for me. I have another duties, so I like to prepare my development environment, which is friendly for me and keeps me efficient in my work.
Yeah, and maybe because I see that we have some nice questions on the chat. So guys, if you have some more questions, just keep them coming. We will try to answer them. And just maybe one quick advice or tip from my side. I think a lot of people are trying to get into front-end development gigs in Web3 without actually being a user of Web3 ecosystem. And I think that's a big mistake. Because sometimes people are just buying crypto on Binance or some centralized exchange, and that's it. But I think if you want to be a really good developer, you have to be familiar with decentralized stuff. You have to use stuff like Uniswap. You have to try some bridges. You have to try some maybe decentralized applications for communities like DAOs, and just see how these applications are working, because then it's just easier to build stuff if you are a user of them, because you can see that, oh, Uniswap did something interesting, or I don't know, Etherscan has this new wallet connect, and OpenSea has some different stuff, and I don't know, Blur has some fancy way of authentication, and so on. So I highly recommend you to just play with some existing applications before you actually start developing it. And it sounds obvious, but I noticed that sometimes people just want to get into Web3 and they didn't do any decentralized operation at all. And that's a mistake.
Yeah, we don't talk about enterprise solutions like private blockchains. We talk about everything which is publicly available for you, for anybody. You can try it. If you try it on mainnet, and maybe it forces you to spend money, but that we got testnets, and testnets brings with give an opportunity to experience everything we get on mainnet without spending money. Because it's always about money, because you need to spend money for gas. If it's money, you need to buy it.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe let's go into the questions now. So I will start reading from the first question, which was, what do you think about third web framework? Do you have any opinions?
No idea. I didn't hear about that.
Okay, so maybe some brief Yeah, I was checking third web actually some time ago, because third web is something I would say full stack Web3 low code tool, I would say, right? So it's not like completely no code that you can, start building without having clue about programming. It's more like that if you would like to build an NFT marketplace, you can use third web to quickly deploy smart contracts for your NFTs, to quickly deploy smart contract for your marketplace. And then you also have some nice hooks that allows you to talk to these smart contracts from your React or JavaScript code. So I think it's great tool, but I think you have to be careful with with building. I would say more customized or more advanced stuff, because as every low-code tool, third web has some limitations, right? So for example, if you I don't know, if you are okay with preparing some simple NFT that somebody can mint for, I don't know, ETH, then third web supports it out of the box. You can go for it, right? But if you all of a sudden have to have the smart contract that, I don't know, supports ETH, but also some ERC20s, and also you would like to whitelist somebody, and you would like to whitelist some people that are owning some other NFT maybe, and this NFT has to be burned along the way, then all of a sudden third web will not support it, and actually forcing third web to working with that is hard, or sometimes even not possible. So I think it's great, but only if you are sure that stuff that you have to build is supported by them, and you are comfortable with the situation that customizations are harder. So we covered the question about Web3 React, and okay, now I see some question from Marek. Hello, I have a question about selling a token on the Matic network, how it works, that you can buy a token with Matic and ETH or USDT. So would you like to answer it?
I'm not sure I get it. I get it.
Yeah, I think the question is, that we have multiple networks in the Ethereum world. So we have the layer 1, which is basically the Ethereum mainnet, and we have layer 2 and sidechain solutions like Polygon. And for example, Polygon is sidechain that is way cheaper than Ethereum. So for example, a lot of gaming projects, or some projects that just are not that serious that they have to be on the Ethereum mainnet. They are fine with some limitations or differences between sidechains and mainnets. They just deciding to go with Polygon, and then I think the question is that, okay, I'm using the Polygon network and still I can use their Ethereum or USDT, even that these ERC20 tokens are living on the mainnet. And I think if I got the question wrong, then Marek, you can write on the chat. But here is the thing that you can use. It's named wrapped tokens, right? Wrapped ERC20 tokens. And this means that if you are on Polygon, you can still use USDT or Ethereum tokens that are wrapped. So for example, if you would, they are bridged between two networks. So for example, if I want to produce some Ether on the Polygon, I have to burn some Ether on the mainnet, and then we have some bridges that can create this ERC20 on the Polygon. And that's a very convenient move, especially for the traders, because if you are trading on the Ethereum mainnet, then you have to pay really high gas fees for every transaction that you are doing. So for example, if you can make a transaction out of it, you have a $2 profit, then it's not worth to do it because you have to pay more for transaction on the Ethereum. So your whole profit is actually consumed by the cost of the transaction. But if you are on the Polygon, then your transaction costs, I don't know, 1 cent, right? And then all of a sudden you can keep trading wrapped ERC20 tokens on the Polygon and have still super cheap transactions. So that's how this works. It's always just tricky to know exactly what are the addresses of wrapped coins, because somebody can, sell you the USDT, which is not really the USDT, on the Polygon, and then you can be fucked. So it's worth to always check and use some some decentralized exchanges on Polygon that are having the verified tokens, and then you don't have a problem.
USDT on Polygon and USDT on Ethereum, that's two separate tokens. Two separate tokens on in two separate words. There is nothing common with two words except the bridge, and bridge is the third part who takes the responsibility. Everything works fine, so it's not decentralized. Actually, it could be somehow trying to be decentralized bridge, but it always bridge is always is less decentralized than the certain blockchains you're gonna use.
Yeah, and the sad thing is the highest I think bugs or exploits that happened in Web3 worlds, they were always related to bridges, right? So it's it's dangerous to use them, and for now actually there is no, at least I don't know, some bridge that is 100% decentralized and safe. There are always some let's say some trade-offs, so be careful with that.
I'm not the expert of how bridges works, but it's bridge is definitely the bottleneck. In any situation.
Yeah, we have another question. You guys are hiring or know someone who would appreciate any recommendations for a front-end roles. So I, at the moment, to my startup, we are not looking for anybody. At the moment, we have a stable team, so we are not hiring for the front-end roles. If you are looking for some jobs, I highly recommend you to go to it's free and open Discord channel, Web3 Devs Poland, because there I think it's quite easy to get some small gigs. I'm not saying that you will find a full-time job super fast there, but I think from time to time somebody is building something, and it's quite easy to get into some projects just to learn something and just do something after hours. And of course I think such gigs often can turn out to be the full-time positions, so I think it's worth sometimes to try and learn something, meet some people, meet some nice projects. So this Discord is something I recommend you. And there's also the one page, it's web3.career. And I think it's a great page because it has a lot of roles, and you can just filter out these roles by remote only and scope them just to front end, just to, I don't know, back end, some specific technologies like JavaScript or Rust or React, whatever you like. And there are a lot of offers. So I think you should find something here. Any recommendations from you, Jakub?
Yeah, my advice is if you look for a job in Web3 blockchain, just be creative. I suspect majority of majority of companies which do something in Web3 doesn't have its own HR department. They doesn't release any job offers so often, like for example, software houses. And I always recommend to be creative. That's the way to find your dream job. And my story is I don't need to look for a job because they call me. I don't call them.
Okay.
So I rely on my connections I built in last 8 years, and I'm fan of building projects with friends, with people you know, and yeah, I feel comfortable where I am. I know that people from my previous companies.
Okay, sure. So going next, because we have some plenty questions to answer. So what are the most common type of Web3 projects that you are taking part in, and most common blockchains? So I think I will answer quickly for me and Kuba. Kuba is working in DeFi space, and it's mostly you are focused on the mainnet or also some other networks at the moment.
Uh, in terms of production, only mainnet, Ethereum mainnet.
Okay. So Kuba is mainly mainnet and DeFi. I work mostly on NFT projects. Currently, we are building the solution, the SaaS solution, which actually lets you build some e-commerce solution for NFTs. So if somebody wants to run own marketplace, just call me. We'll equip you with nice tools for that. And we are mainly focused on the mainnet and Polygon, because Polygon is, the blockchain network that is currently very popular for some projects that would like to run some pilots with NFTs, try the technology, learn it, because of this gas transactions are super cheap there, and there are a lot of gaming projects. So this is something that me personally, it's very interesting to me. But we also have some mainnet projects for NFTs. So that's my experience. Then we have another question. It's regarding Ethers v5. Is this good idea to starting learning from Ethers in this version instead of v6, assuming that v5 is better documented in web?
Yeah, it's worth because most projects so far most projects uses V5. Um, yeah, for mature projects, it could be. I suspect it could be hard to move from V5 to V6 like that.
Yeah, I think it's also, yeah, it's a tricky question, right? Because I think if you are just starting, you just want to read from the contract, you want to maybe read some events emitted from the contract and write something to it. And I think V6 should work for that, right? Maybe the documentation shouldn't be that developed as the V5, but I think for these simple scenarios, it should just work. But from the other hand, if you start with V5 and also try the simple stuff, and you will see that, okay, I really want to develop in that, I want to invest more time, then I think migration to V6 shouldn't be a big headache. So
Mhm.
yeah, I think you should just yeah, from the Nike advertisement, just do it, whatever you prefer, and try with some simple cases. And I think if you go deeper, it shouldn't actually matter that much.
I can recap that V6 is for greenfield projects. And in industry, Web3 industry, you may spot also a project which is still using V5. So it's more likely you get a job.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly.
So
So, guys, we are having right now the last questions. If somebody would like to ask something more, this is the perfect moment. Don't wait more. Also, write us some feedback, what you think about our today's session. If you like it, maybe if you have some suggestions for upcoming topics or what kind of content you would like to get from us next time, then please write it on the chat. But now there is, I think, one of the last questions from Kasper. Kasper is asking, do you guys think that Rust will replace Solidity? Uh, yeah, would you like to start maybe, Kuba, and I will go
yeah,
next?
answering that question once again, I have no idea. However, what are my feelings? If Rust replaces Solidity, um, I don't care about that as long as they provide the same thing for me, like API and smart contract address, because frontend doesn't rely on the language which is used on the smart contract side.
Hmm.
And finally, in the end, the smart contract is just a bytecode. So Solidity is just a language used before compilation to bytecode. So,
Hmm.
but answer the question, no idea. I'm not into that.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, for me, it's also hard to actually answer this question. I think right now, if I would bet, I think it will not replace, because just Solidity at the moment is more popular. It has more tooling, more developers around it. And if you would just decide that, okay, we want to replace Solidity, you need to bring something to the table and actually convince all these groups, all these people that they should forget about Solidity and start using Rust. So I think they have to be some really good arguments behind that, and still maybe it wouldn't be accepted, because just more developers are already familiar with the Solidity. It's the same questions like people sometimes ask, like why the JavaScript it's the world, why the JavaScript it's so popular. And the question is, JavaScript is popular because you have easy access to the developers, right? And if you want to find a Rust developer, good luck with that, right? Just post your job offering and count how many people will call you, and then we can, publish, another job offer for, Ruby developer or Python or JavaScript, and just compare the statistics. Always you will get most out of JavaScript market, and that's why some teams are just going for that, because it's easier to hire and find people. So for now, I think Solidity, yeah, will be popular for upcoming years.
It's just legacy Solidity.
Yeah,
The
and
same
now
as
I think.
JavaScript in for browsers. We can ask similar question: is Rust gonna replace JavaScript in browsers?
Yeah, yeah. It's just that we have so much tooling and so much stuff in this ecosystem that it would be really hard to actually replace that, because there would be still teams that will be not convinced, and they will just stick to the stuff that they know, just to avoid the cost of moving to some other technology. Oh, we have interesting question. So, do you really believe in decentralization? Uh, so yeah, I personally do not believe in 100% decentralization. I just believe that the decentralization is some kind of path that we can decide as a community or as a society to just choose, right? And I think that at the beginning, this path would be not easy, because always you would have decentralized solutions that are already working, that are cheaper, that are faster. But I believe that decentralization will become more and more useful. And I also believe that along the way, more people will just make this choice, that some people will just prefer to use products that are privacy friendly, that are not owned by a single entity, that are not owned by some big corporation, that there's no risk that somebody can buy and centralize something. So I think people will more and more care about this, but it would be really hard to actually reach 100% decentralization.
Yeah, I try to not believe in anything. I'm just software engineer. I see the code. Some projects, mm, some protocols are more decentralized. Some are less decentralized. Yeah, there is no ideal situation. Something is entirely decentralized.
Yeah, we have also one comment from Tomasz that he doesn't believe the decentralization. So yeah, I think I think the Ethereum and the blockchain, it's not a finalized work, right? It's not like that we are ready, we finished everything, and nothing more interesting or more clever will pop up in the future.
Yeah.
I think it's just not true, because some years ago, for example, I haven't heard anything about zero knowledge proofs. Right now, zero knowledge proofs are becoming more and more accessible. There are more and more learning materials about it. I think more and more people are investing actually in learning what are the possibilities of decentralized blockchain networks and so on. I think there are also some interesting things happening in cryptography. There are some new algorithms that they are allowing you to compute while still being in encrypted environment, which I also was not aware a few years ago that some stuff like that is possible. But some clever people are working every day hard to actually invent new stuff. So for today, I agree that we are calling centralized database decentralization, but I don't agree that for 10 years, nothing will accelerate in that space. Okay, so I think we don't have more questions. Thank you guys for being today with us. Thank you, Kuba, that you shared a bit from your Web3 journey, that we could talk about the libraries, the interesting best practices and stuff. I'm sure that we will meet again on this channel and talk more about Web3
Sure.
content. And yeah, if anybody from the chat still would have some feedback or some suggestions, you can reach out to us on Twitter, on LinkedIn, or just write in the comments to this video. Suggest us what we can do in upcoming sessions to make them even more interesting to you. And yeah, that's it from my side.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. See you guys.